Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. Of course, we had a storm system move across the state during the midweek period that brought some very welcome moisture to the Panhandle and portions of the western Sandhills. We did see totals anywhere from 3/4 of an inch up to 1.5 inches with the system, and then we also seen some accumulating snowfall across the northern Panhandle, particularly as we got into late Wednesday evening into the Thursday time period. In the southwestern corner of the state, we did see some moderate totals, probably in the 1/4 to 1/2 inch was very common, but we had dry slotted in most of south central Nebraska, and we had some isolated pockets of storms in eastern Nebraska. So overall, the best precipitation was in the western part of the state, a lot less in the eastern part of the state and south central part of the state. And now we have another system that is going to be moving through the region as we go through this weekend that has the potential to bring more significant moisture to the western part of the state and a little bit uncertainty in course in the eastern part of the state in regards to total precipitation. So let's take a look at the upper air models and see what we can expect as we go through this period. And here is the upper air pattern for today. We have a trough digging in the western United States. In advance of it, we should see southwest to southerly flow. That will give us some fairly nice temperatures across the southeast part of the state. As we get up in the northwest, we're going to be dealing with a little bit more cloud cover. We may see an isolated thunderstorm start to break out toward the late afternoon hours and the overnight hours across northeast Nebraska, but a much better chance for precipitation occurs as we get into Sunday. As the system starts to exit out of the southern plains, it will bring up moisture up into eastern and western Nebraska, and that will set the stage for the possibility of thunderstorm activity. In fact, looking at the potential for heavy precipitation in the Laramie River Basin, which may portend to some isolated flooding problems with thunderstorm activity, and possibility as the system slows down, particularly as we get into Monday, that we could see some fairly extensive precipitation across eastern Nebraska. So by Monday, you can see the storm start to make its way to our east. We start to see the cold air on the backside of it, so much cooler temperatures are in the forecast as we go into a good portion of next week, and the precipitation should come to an end as we get through the afternoon hours of Monday. Now as we get to Tuesday, the system passes to the east of us and we're under northwest flow, so probably our coolest temperature of the week with the possibility that we could see some scattered frost across the northern 1/3 of the state. As we go into Wednesday, we start to see the ridge starting to build back in and warm air builds into the western part of the state. It'll be a slow drag in the eastern part of the state. We'll probably lift about 5 to 10 degrees, but we'll still be remaining below normal in terms of temperatures. And by the time we get to Thursday, we see that low tries to broaden out and bring a piece of energy into the eastern part of the state that might touch off an isolated thunderstorm, particularly in the northeastern part of the state. And on Friday, we see that trough starts to move toward east and the ridge regains its strength as it builds northwestward. So any systems that come down the pipe are going to be coming in a northwest flow. So we look at the temperature forecast. We'll see the warm temperatures this weekend across the southeast with scattered thunderstorm activity. We'll have a clearing pattern during the middle of the week, and then we will see a warm up toward the end of the week with a chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. Temperature forecast from next Thursday to the following Tuesday looks for below normal temperatures in terms of precipitation. A drier trend indicated by CPC, but I think that this is really being overdone.